welcome Ryan Becher to the stage. Ryan, how are you, man?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Glad to be here. Well. We're glad to have you here on Fort Wayne Footy. We're glad to have you in Fort Wayne playing with the side that we support here in USL League One. Before we get into the real questions, do you have an answer for that? Like, if an attacking player hits a ball obviously with their hand above their head into the goal, what's the call on that?
I mean, Diego Maradona did it once, and it was allowed. So I guess.
Okay.
No, yeah, right. Didn't quite have the video review, the VAR back then either. So, yeah, I mean, if you can get away with it, that's one thing, right?
Why not?
Have you ever done it?
Try it this season. See what happens.
That I've tried. But,
Yes, jeez.
Well, hey Ryan, welcome to the show. I'm going to give a little background, what we know of you, and let you fill in some of the gaps. You played with Philadelphia Union Academy. I believe your last year, U19 year, you mentioned to us with Philadelphia Union Academy. Played with University of Maryland, Baltimore for a number of seasons, and then played your final season in 2023 with UCLA. And then from there, made your way to St. Louis City 2. Played for a season, moved to Union Omaha last year. And from what we know, you're coming in as a goal scorer for Union Omaha, 9 goals in 22 matches with them, and moved over here to Fort Wayne FC to start off the 2026 season. So lot of history there with some storied clubs in UCLA and St. Louis City. Even their short time in Major League Soccer, but St. Louis has a rich soccer history there. And then with Union Omaha in the USL 1. What did we miss? What else in your career that would be helpful for us to know about?
No, I mean, you pretty much nailed it all. I guess I will add, I did play USL 2, so the same level that the club was formerly at. I played in Reading in Pennsylvania, and then I also played for Ocean City Nor'easters for one summer. So been in and around that league, and know the USL just from being around the sport for a while now. But
yeah. Hey, we've got our crew here has some questions. If you guys want to just grab those, pick those off as we go through the rundown, go for it. But I just want to start off with your time with Union Omaha. We had a conversation amongst our team, right? Before this about length of contracts in USL 1 and USL 2. So my question is, because you've had time with St. Louis City, time with Union Omaha, contract lengths with USL, are they typically 1 to 2 years? Is that what we're learning here?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that's probably pretty standard, but then again, it really depends on the club, the player, and just a bunch of different things that will go into it. Yeah, you probably see a little bit longer of contracts in the MLS than you would in USL. But yeah, I think it's more just the club per case scenario. But yeah, I'd say 1 to 2 years is probably a good range for the average.
Yeah.
So Fort Wayne, you have a little bit of some family history here in Fort Wayne. Tell us a little bit about that and why you chose to come to Fort Wayne to play.
Yeah, no. So my dad played in Fort Wayne for the Flames and Indiana Kick, and it was his first stop professionally. So those are both indoor teams back in the day, way before my time. But no, yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about Fort Wayne from him. He always would tell me a bunch of stories that he probably doesn't want me to repeat on here. But he talked about it as a great town supporting local sports and everything, and the other sports that are here as well, with the Tin Caps and Comets. I've only heard good things about that. And then, I had some friends that played USL 2 in Fort Wayne. So I reached out to them and talked to them a little bit about their experiences here. And, they all had great things to say. Those names would be Seth Antwi. I played with him in St. Louis. And then Sean Karani and Grayson Duty I played with at UCLA. So group of guys that enjoyed their time here and really recommended the place.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice. We've heard, consistent from the new players that we've talked to, a consistent level of, Fort Wayne seems to be like a place that takes care of their players. Like, this is a place that was really welcoming to me when I came for a visit and whatnot. So I think that's been pretty consistent across the board. And so just to hear you say similar things, makes us feel good as fans that we've got a place that we live in, a place that people want to come because of our ownership that's ambitious, but our ownership that wants to take care of people as well. So you've had some success, and we mentioned that earlier in USL League One with Union Omaha. Your 9 goals. I didn't look at the assists and things like that. I'm sure you were on the board there as well, with points and contributions there with the team. How does your experience in like USL 2 and USL 1, your experience there, how does that lend itself to helping this new team, this new group of guys that you've mentioned, you've talked about a couple times already? How does that help this team prepare, knowing that you've already been there, you've seen the level, you've had some success at that level? What do you bring to the team in that way?
Yeah, no, I think it's a great question. I think especially USL 2 is very similar to, starting a new team, because you guys know it from the years prior, you get a bunch of new guys in and it's a whole new team. So experiencing that in USL 2 has allowed me here now to just start to get comfortable with guys and, have good conversations, do stuff outside of team training, just to, familiarize myself and each other with the group. But I think in terms of the league itself, it's been, I think maybe 2019, I could be wrong. I think that was the first year of the league, and it's just grown crazy since then. Every year it seems like, just watching it, it's getting better, and more teams are obviously coming in. So I think for me, just having a little bit experience in the league is nice, but at the same time, I think it's going to look different again this year than it did last year, even for the 6 months that I was in it. So I think anything that I can help, I will, but I don't want to say this is what it's going to be like for sure, because I don't think it's going to be necessarily exactly what it was last year.
Yeah, and some of that too is there were 14 teams there last year, and now there's 18. There was supposed to be 21, and so the league is rapidly expanding. So it's almost like you never really know fully what to expect, because there's so many expansion teams coming in, and other teams that like Texoma that bump themselves down right to USL 2 again. So yeah, that's a good thought.
Ryan, what do you see along those same lines? What do you see as some challenges for the club in this promotion season? First season with USL 1. You've seen them both, and you've seen that next level up. What are potential challenges that the crew needs to be waiting for and ready for?
Yeah, no, I mean, in any league, bringing a bunch of new guys together is always going to be tough, and there's going to be a little bit of a grace period. So the beginning of the season is definitely going to be tough, especially being on the road. We got the stadium opening in May, so having 4 or 5 or how many road games you have at the start of the season will be tough. I think also what you'll find in this league is, obviously there's the development aspect. You're still trying to develop players, but everyone's in there to win, and every style is going to look different, and teams are going to do everything they can to win the game. So I think you might see a little bit more of that in this league versus maybe a USL 2, where every game start to finish feels competitive, and there feels like there's a lot on the line. Not that USL 2 isn't competitive, but it just has that different feel. Being being a longer season, it can feel like, oh, maybe all the games don't matter, but they do. I mean, I can tell you firsthand, they all matter, especially with the way the league's set up this year. We're playing every team twice, so you want to win a series against each team, whether it's a draw or whatever it is. So yeah, I think being optimistic about the start, and then I think we should be hitting good form through the summer, and really finish strong.
Awesome.
We talked, Micah, go ahead.
No, I was just I've been able to watch some highlights of yours, especially last season with Union Omaha. What can the fans expect to see you as a player? Like, how would you describe yourself as a player?
Yeah, no, I think I played a ton of different positions. I think this will be my 3rd year professionally. I've played every position but right back and goalie. So I've kind of been all over the field, and I think my role here ideally would be more of an attacking role. And there's a quote I like with Thomas Muller. It says, and that's kind of a player that I see myself kind of like in ways, just like a good IQ of the game, and understanding what's around me and everything. But I'm not. And the quote's saying, like, he's not going to beat you with his 1v1 dribbling. He's not going to beat you with pace. He's just going to beat you. And I think that kind of sums me up in a way. You're not going to watch my game and be like, oh, he's flashy, oh, he's fast. But somehow at the end of the day, I'm scoring goals, winning games. I think that's something, I hope to bring here as well.
Yeah, you always seem to pop up in the right places just at the right time. So definitely excited to watch that this year.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what you want from, whether it's a striker playing the 9 or playing out of the midfield, which I saw a couple highlights of you doing too. That's where you want those attacking players, right? Showing up in the right places at the right time. And a lot of that comes with building trust with your teammates, I imagine, right? And the extra time that you have in the preseason, we'll talk about later in the show, the extra time you have in the preseason with USL 1, the 6 weeks of preseason that maybe you had 6 days potentially of preseason in USL 2. So a lot of that I think is probably developing in this preseason camp. How would you talk about or talk to us just for a minute about what's happening in preseason camp, what you can share, things that you're seeing the team and players develop as?
Yeah, no, I think, the good thing about a long preseason is you can be competitive right from the start. And trainings have been very intense this first week, a lot of playing, a lot of getting after it. And, guys, whether they're trialists fighting for a spot or a signed player, fighting for a specific role in the team, which is really good. And I think in a shorter preseason, you got to be more cautious. Like, hey, we got games coming up. We want to make sure, we just kind of get an understanding of who we are in that. And obviously we're doing those same things as well. It's not all going to be fighting on the field. But I think that is a key component is we're going to be going after each other pretty much the whole 6 weeks of preseason. And I think in that you also gain respect for players as well when you're battling, each and every day. And I think preseason is time, it's tough mentally because you just want the season to start, but it is very important to, really get to know the system, get to know the staff, the players, and everything. So I think, the first week's been good. They're saying we might go outside this week, so we'll see how that goes.
Jeez.
Good luck with that.
So
Yeah, have fun.
Anyone's got any heaters they want to bring on the sideline.
Hey, if we could be there, I'll bring a heater.
Yeah, right. You get us access, we'll buy a heater and we will bring it. Absolutely.
No, yeah, I mean, that brings up another question that maybe we weren't planning to talk about though. Is this season? It's a long season. We're used to summer games here in Fort Wayne from May to July. And now we're starting, like, we won't see the team officially in March, but the season starts in March. We will next year. We'll see the team here live in Fort Wayne starting in May. And then we'll get, depending on, the success of the season, playoffs go deep into November, right? So we might get some cold games at the end of the year, but you played there last year. You played in some of this. What was it like as a player, this long season then, going from, the cold, maybe sub-zero temperatures, sub-freezing temperatures and beginning of season, end of season, and then, 102, 103 degree temperatures in certain parts of the country in the middle of the summer?
Yeah, no, it's definitely a long season. And, the weather obviously isn't the best in the winter. It's not the best in the summer either. I think for me, my favorite part's the fall. And maybe that's why I like college soccer so much, because the whole season was some pretty good weather. But yeah, some of the days in the summer get pretty brutal. You got the water breaks and everything. Obviously, you guys experienced that the last few years. But no, I think with it being the long season, I think it's almost more important to, find things outside of playing just to keep your mind in a good spot, because, it can be so long where you're, maybe you're in a little rough spot in terms of form or training. And, if you're just kind of sitting on your own, getting back from training every day, in your own mind, it gets tough. So I think, for me, just trying to find different things, whether it's with other guys or on my own or whatnot, I think that's a big key factor for a long season.
Along those same lines, a couple people have asked, and I saw it was on our list as well, but where's your favorite place, or where has been your favorite place to play?
In USL 1 this past year, I didn't play in Portland, but that place was rocking. That was pretty awesome. That was the first weekend I got to Omaha. So I did the trip, but wasn't registered yet to play. So a place that I would have played, Naples was cool. It was a playoff atmosphere, so it definitely added a little bit more intensity there. So I'd probably have to go with that. It was a good crowd, it was loud, and obviously, like I said, the intensity of the game was good. Unfortunately, didn't end on the right side of it. Hopefully, can right those wrongs on March 7th. But I'd probably say Naples.
You expect that in the first game? Like, it's not playoff, obviously, but you expect their fan base to come out and support in that way?
Yeah, no, I mean, it seemed like, just watching through film, it seemed like they always had a decent crowd there and everything, and it's a cool little stadium and stuff. So I would expect to be decent, especially at like a home opener. You would expect to get a good crowd going.
Yeah. We have a question in the chat here from Christina, who is head of the Fort Wayne, the Three Rivers Regiment here. Says Omaha Parliament's a solid supporter group for Union Omaha. How do you feel about playing against those fans next season?
Yeah, it's going to be tough. I had some good conversation with a lot of people there, a part of the Parliament group, and they reached out to the team and give us little gift baskets here and there and stuff, and they did a lot for us. So it was definitely a good group, and I'll definitely show my respect.
Yeah,
there you go.
Let's hope they do the same. Let's hope they do this.
That's always the thing, right?
I know.
Is the ex-player the villain or the hero that's returning, right?
Right.
And so I guess that's yet to be determined, but that'll be a game we'll have our eyeballs on. This season for sure.
3 times with the cup as well.
That's right. That's right. So you're there. No, they're here, right? They're here for the cup.
Twice, but three games against.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We had there's talk in the chat, and we saw this about your time with the UMBC, right? And a top 10 Sports Center top 10 play of the week goal there. Walk us through that.
So it was my senior night, and I forget what minute it was. It was late in the game. We were winning, and one of our center backs clipped the ball forward. Their defender kind of cleared it out, and I kind of took a juggle touch over the kid and volleyed it, and it was an alright goal. But my dad still gives me some crap because some of my friends and their parents were over on that side, and I ran to the bench. So he would have been on Sports Center, and I was like, sorry.
Yeah, that's fine.
Hey,
you gotta go where your teammates are, right?
Exactly.
On the note of accolades that you haven't shared, Brian, you mentioned the 9 goals, but you weren't sure about assists. I've seen something along the lines of maybe in 2022, you were the only player in the country that had double digits for both goals and assists. Is that true? And is that something maybe we can look forward to this season?
Yeah, that was my senior year at UMBC, and I think I always pride myself as someone to get teammates involved, and I think if you told me going into college that I was going to have more goals and assists, I would have been surprised because I always had more assists than goals kind of growing up. But I think that's something hopefully that I can continue and bring here. And obviously, if I have more goals and assists, that's great too. But
we don't care either way. It's fine.
Yeah.
But no, definitely like to get others involved, and sometimes I'll get a coach or family member or someone telling me I need to shoot more. But
I think selfless playing is key. We talked about this before. My youngest, we pay him $1 for an assist because he likes to score. So you got to teach it young. And so the fact that you had more than that's pretty awesome. So that's great.
At the same time, some of us have kids that like to get assists when they have open shots and don't take them. And so we try and tell them, like Ryan said, his dad said, like, shoot the ball more, right? When you have the opportunity, finish. Yeah, no doubt. One other question we had in the chat, and then I've got one more to close out this time with Ryan here, is the difference in physical demand from USL 2 to USL 1, and maybe just the length of the season that you've already talked about, but maybe more so like in the physical battles on the field. Players that are playing a full season, players that, they're pros now, they're dedicating their lives to this and not getting ready to go back to school to play for their team. But what's the difference in physical demand game to game in USL 1 than USL 2?
Yeah, no, obviously USL 2, you have a lot of, games twice a week, 3 times a week sometimes, and the trainings are a little bit less of a load, whereas, the full season, you do get good recovery days and you can focus on your body more because you do have more time between games, but also you do have some more intense trainings and stuff. But yeah, in game, definitely definitely a very physical game. Like you said, you got people that are, have families. They're, fighting for food on the plate for their kids and stuff. So it's different than, like you mentioned, just, kids in college looking to go back to school just to get some extra touches in the summer and try to win some games.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Ryan, I just have a kind of maybe it's not a selfish question, but it's outside the realm of USL 1 because some of us have interest in Major League Soccer as well. And you've had, brushes with Philadelphia Union there in the academy and St. Louis City 2 there with their second team. And maybe have crossed paths with a head coach named Bradley Carnell, who won the Supporters Shield in Philadelphia last season. He had a, crazy good year with St. Louis, their first season, and now obviously no longer there. He's with Philadelphia and had a crazy good year with Philadelphia this year. What can us MLS fans, maybe that are fans of rival teams to Philadelphia Union, expect out of Bradley Carnell and the Union this year?
Yeah, no, I would think you're going to see a lot of what they did last year. It's not a team that's going to have a ton of the ball. They're going to be a team that is just going to kill you with the compactness, kill you with the pressing, and just taking advantage of opportunity. And, you saw that in his first year in St. Louis, and obviously saw that last year. And he's the type of coach that he gets a lot out of players that you don't expect to be, where they're at. And, they've had a lot of good players that they've sent on to other places from Philly, and they just got guys that come in and fill the role. And obviously their academy is unreal there, so they have got guys coming up through the pipeline as well. So I'm interested to see how some of those guys do. Some younger guys there that I know just from being there as well. So excited to kind of see how they could turn on this year. And it'd be crazy if they could do what they did again last year. I think if I have some friends that are Philly sports fans, I think they would probably take a lesser of a regular season if they could push over the hump in the playoffs. But no, I think it should be another good year for them.
Yeah. I have a friend that'll say Bradley Carnell can get anybody to run through a wall for him. But you can only hit that wall so many times. At some point it wears you out. So looking forward to that. But really, more importantly, Ryan, welcome to Fort Wayne. We're excited to see you out on the field with our side, Fort Wayne FC, scoring some goals, putting balls across for assists, and just being a team player out there. So thanks for joining us here, and we look forward to seeing you out on the field when the season begins.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate it, guys, and have a good rest of your Sunday night.
All right.
Thank you.
You as well. Get some rest. You got a big day tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Ryan.
Yep. Bye.